Welcome to the Mike and JD Show YouTube channel. Thank you for being here. I want you to do me a big favor before you check out this clip. I want you to hit the like button. I want you to throw in a comment and make sure you're a subscriber to this channel. And then I want you to share this video with your friends. Help us defeat the algorithm. And then if you like this content and you appreciate this content, please head over to patreon.com/the Mike and JD Show and support the show. That is how we actually get funded to be able to do this. So we thank you very much for being here. And now enjoy the clip. I have said whatever I've wanted to say about this Motor City Machine Guns story that has been breaking, and it's gotten. I actually did a live stream on our YouTube channel. I think like last Tuesday. I had like a break at work, and I went down to the beach and just like pulled out the phone, StreamYard, the whole deal, and went and did a live stream down there. And it was pretty cool. I did like 30 minutes. Like people jumped in, and we did like a Q&A, so that was cool. And then of course on Thursday night I recorded the show. I had a lot of questions about Motor City Machine Guns. I made my feelings felt. I also did Brace for Impact yesterday morning where I talked about it again. Well, this morning, PW Insider is reporting that last night at the TNA tapings in Philadelphia was indeed the Motor City Machine Guns' final night in TNA. They will no longer be with the company going forward. They actually did like a farewell for them. TNA did offer them to stick around on a per date deal, which is kind of what they used to do for most people, but now but Scott D'Amore kind of went away for that a little bit and went to like full-time contracted talent with a lot of people and was trying not to use freelancers so much. But I think TNA is going back to using like a lot more freelancers now. It's kind of what it looks like. So we'll see what happens with a lot of these other contracts that are coming due this year, see who sticks around, who doesn't. But yeah, the Motor City Machine Guns are out. Where do you see them going next, man? Where do you want to see them going anyway?
I can't really nail this in the video. Darius, what's their last name? Darius
Martin.
And Dante Martin, yeah, tweeted that on he did the eyeball emojis with the hand and the point. So my assumption is that they're probably going to wind up in AEW. That we again, us and our friend the Red Nats were discussing where they could wind up on text, and we both agreed that we could see them fitting in both major companies. I think that I don't see them being, if they were to go to WWE, I don't see them being main roster talent. They're small. Right.
Yeah.
And WWE's never, other than like London and Kendrick. I should have called him Lundrick at the time. That's like it as far as what they do with small guy tag teams.
Ciampa and Gargano, I would say.
Gargano, yeah.
But even then, like they would put them on NXT for like Ciampa and Gargano were on NXT for years before they gained the trust of Triple H.
And that's what I would see them doing with the Guns. I would see them being brought in as coaches for NXT, which is probably where their value is the best in WWE. Yeah. They'll be helping work with those kids down there and giving them like awesome pros, like veterans, like pros to get better working with. I would love to see the Creeds versus the Machine Guns. That would fucking rule. God, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of what you do with them there. Whereas if they were go to AEW, they would be brought in as one of the greatest tag teams of all time. Mm-hmm. Like you would get a video package set to the Motor City theme song. We'd see them doing a bunch of cool things. You get interviews with people talking about them as being one of the most influential tag teams of all time, because they are. So I feel like they would get a run in AEW, right? And it would be deserved too, because they literally are one of the greatest tag teams of all time. And like I would love to see the Guns and the Buck, this version of the Bucks specifically, go at it one more time. We got a little bit of a taste of them in FTR a year and a half ago at All Out, right? I would love to see that for real, like there's some good tag teams in AEW. Like I think that's the landing place for them, because I think they just fit there. And the Motor City Machine Guns are just part of the DNA of AEW. They just are. Like they're just so influential to what tag team wrestling in AEW right now specifically is. Mm-hmm. Like Top Flight's already saying, hey, we want to work with them. And I want to see that, quite frankly.
Yeah.
I want to see Top Flight and the Motor City Machine Guns, because they are one of the best tag teams ever. And because they're in TNA, like I don't know if a lot of fans know that, which is a shame.
Yeah, because when they were in TNA, like TNA's peak, they weren't really treated as like they were like very good, but they were treated like these small guys that could work tag team matches, right? Mm-hmm. And they had their matches with like they were Generation Me at the time, but the Young Bucks, and they did do some stuff, but they were just treated like any other talent. And then they went away for a little bit, and then they came back. But since they've been back off and on since 2020, they have been treated like all-time legends. The problem is the visibility of TNA since then has been next to nothing.
Right.
And so they really missed their peak, and they never really got the big payday from WWE or now AEW. Now that AEW exists, and when AEW came around, Chris Sabin had a blown ACL, right? Like he just wasn't working at the time, and Alex Shelley was doing indies and working on getting his degree in physical therapy and working on his career field outside of pro wrestling, right? So that was his main focus.
He was in New Japan too, like Sabin and Kushida, the Time Splitters.
Yeah, it was Shelley and Kushida, yeah.
Shelley and Kushida, excuse me, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Shelley and Kushida, yeah. They were in New Japan.
So they were broken up for a while. They came back together. I want to say in 2021, 2020.
We had a show. We were on the show already. Yeah.
Okay, so 2021 then is when they came back together, and they've done a lot of great things in TNA. Just the problem is the visibility is just not there, and so a lot of people just don't know about it. They know that they see them all the time. They see the gifs and the clips all over the internet, and so they everybody can see that they can still go, but they're just not really experiencing what they're capable of. I tell you what, last year, Alex Shelley was the world heavyweight champion and Chris Sabin was the X Division champion, and I thought that was a hell of a 1-2 punch for TNA, as far as like having like your top two guys. And so for TNA to kind of TNA is not losing them, by the way. They have actively chosen not to keep them for budgetary constraints. Right, that's the concern, and so they're actively trying not to keep them.
We have to face the fact that TNA is changing. Scott D'Amore is gone. When I say the face of the company, I don't mean Scott as the base. I mean like the DNA and the makeup of the company is going under a radical shift.
Take a flamethrower to this place. Take a flamethrower to this place.
Sorry, that was Al Pacino.
Yeah, I was unexpected. Thank you.
Yeah,
little son of a woman. Wow. Like I was, now you threw me off completely.
Sorry. I have a new button.
I see that. I wasn't expecting that. No, I think that they kind of went out like they're changing TNA. They kind of had a good way to walk out with the two of them getting to hold singles titles at the same time and being the Guns. They've kind of done what they can do in the reformation of the Guns. I want to see them get a gold watch run in AEW.
Yeah,
that's what I want to see. I want to see them do one last run with the Bucks. I want to see them do one last run with Top Flight, with FTR, with the really good tag teams that they have there currently. I want to see with the Kingdom even. Like we saw some of that when they were in TNA a couple years ago. I want to see that again. I want to see what they can do with this group. Like I think that's what's gonna happen, quite frankly. And it makes me happy because I think I want them. I want them on a bigger stage than TNA. Wembley Stadium, right? 70,000 people, whatever. I want to hear Motor City playing, and those guys get to wrestle in front of that kind of a crowd. Like that's what they deserve, as they're both deep into their 40s at this point, because they can still go.
Yeah, they can still go. Chris Sabin had a hell of a decade with all the ace. I think he had like 2 or 3 knee surgeries.
He's still good.
And he was retired at one point. He actually didn't come back until Alex Shelley agreed to reform the Motor City Machine Guns in the pandemic era TNA. So I think they're awesome. I agree. I would love to see them go to AEW. That would be my first choice. Like I told everybody on Thursday, I was like, if they go to AEW, I slot them right behind the Bucks and FTR.
Yeah,
like they're like they're right there because I mean the Lucha Bros aren't like Phoenix is hurt, so Lucha Bros are out. So who else is like a top tag team? Like Top Flight and Private Party, they can't seem to improve, right? They're still kind of doing their stuff on the undercard, and so they haven't really gotten to that next level. And Machine Guns can help them get there. By the way,
agreed.
Young Bucks are a very good tag team. I don't really see anybody saying the things that they say about the Machine Guns, where the Machine Guns actually teach people. I never really hear that about the Young Bucks, but Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin actively teach and coach the teams that they work with. Alex Shelley is a coach at a wrestling school, and Chris Sabin has been a producer for TNA since the pandemic. They brought him in I think before, like when he was retired, he was just working as a producer for the company and was going to all the shows. So he's been producing for like 5-6 years now. So he has a lot of skills there. So I think that's a great team for AEW to bring in. Similarly, like you brought up, I think that they would work well in NXT. And it would be a good thing for them to do to set themselves up for a future after pro wrestling, because as we've noticed with Chris Sabin specifically, it can be taken away from you pretty quick, and where you're out for a long time. And so I could see Sabin getting a producer gig there in WWE, and I could see Alex Shelley getting a coach gig while still working as a tag team.
And I think that's what the value of AEW too is. You can bring those guys in to specifically help coach and produce the tag team division there.
Yeah.
Right. I think they would be such dramatic help for that roster in particular. Again, would they be great in NXT? Yeah, I just won't watch them, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm selfish. I'm a selfish fan. I want to watch the Motor City Machine Guns again. Like, there's one of my favorite tag teams of all time. That's my era of TNA. When I was at my biggest fandom is when they were great. And you're right, they were never they never got their just due the first run. They did in their second run. And it was when we had our show. So I was really proud that we got to be there watching that. I just want to see them. I just want to see the Motor City Machine Guns wrestling at Wembley. I want to see them wrestling at pay-per-views that get big buy rates. I want to see them, get the love of people like the bellwether fans who just don't know, right? Because AEW does have a bigger reach than TNA. I want people to sit there and say, man, the Motor City Machine Guns are really good. Like, I just want that. I just want that just one time for a little bit.